awakening your higher self. And so we have our higher self, we have our soul, we have our human. And so our human is our ego personality. We all have one. And our ego personality gets created from our patterns, our programming, the way that we've been brought up by family, by schools, by the institutions around us, by the collective consciousness. And it's all about keeping ourselves safe. And the issue is that it goes into overdrive and tries to take over our life because it wants us to keep us safe. But the thing is, we are safe. We are already safe. And our soul knows that. Our soul is the infinite loving awareness in this present moment that always knows that you are always safe and that everything happens exactly the way that it needs to. And so in this practice, we're going to be witnessing our lives from a soul-centered perspective rather than being hijacked by our thoughts. Because our thoughts come from our ego. Our feelings come from our higher self. And so what is the higher self? It's the bridge between your sleeping mind, which is the ego perspective, and your awakened awareness, which is your soul. The higher self is the gentle internal teacher who speaks lovingly and gently to you in whispers and reminds you of who you are. It gives you clarity. It gives you a beautiful interpretation of how we align to our truth. Your higher self is the eternal, is the wise, is the loving part of your truth beyond fear, beyond ego, beyond conditioning. It's your purest essence. It's the part of you that's always connected to truth, always connected to love, always connected to your divine guidance. And so from a practical perspective, why do we need to connect to our higher selves? Well, have you ever found yourself at a crossroad and you're confused which way to go, this way, that way, this way, that way? Your higher self gives you clarity. And above all, what I really am appreciative of from these Breath of Bliss ceremonies is I receive clarity. Because we've all been there with the distractions, with the noise. And even right now, I would bet that you want to check your phone or check something. Let it go. Turn it off. Put it on Do Not Disturb. Nothing is this important. Because the human mind is noisy. It's filled with doubt. It's filled with fears. It's filled with old conditioning. But the higher self, that eternal part of you, is always guiding you with clarity. It's always saying, this way, my love. You don't have to worry. There's nothing for you to do right now. Just let it go. It'll all work itself out. Just let it go. So there was a time in my life when I was pushing very hard and my ego was running the show. I was striving for the next goal and the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And I was exhausted. My adrenal systems were, and my nervous system was fried. And I just thought that was normal. It actually took me years for my nervous system to get to the state that it is now. And when we surrender to our higher self and stop the noise and the distractions and we start to listen, everything changes. Your relationships soften. Things just start to work out. Synchronicities occur as you allow the higher guidance to take over your life instead of the lower ego self. We can still love our ego, but we don't need it to control our lives. Opportunities flow and everything happens automatically when we're listening to the whispers of our higher self rather than the demands and the fear tactics from the ego. And so today we're going to explore connecting to your higher self through the breath. And as you breathe, just imagine the inhale of a golden thread rising up through your crown, connecting you to the infinite wisdom above. And on the exhale, imagine that the wisdom is filling your body, grounding into your cells. And together we're going to combine this with sound, presence practices. So this is not just a concept, but it starts to become a lived experience. You awaken your higher self. You start to have a relationship with your higher self. Recently, when I was at the Gold Coast, actually I was with you, Karen and Haley, when I was at the Gold Coast co-facilitating a retreat. I had thought that I had bought return tickets back to Adelaide, where I was living at the time. And because I always do, I always buy return tickets. And I couldn't find my tickets. I went through all my Amex. I went through Jetstar, I went through Qantas, and I couldn't find it. And so in previous years, I would have gone, oh my God, I haven't got a return ticket to Adelaide. And that would have flustered me. But I knew instantly that this meant that I'm not supposed to go back to Adelaide. I went, oh, that's interesting. I'm not supposed to go back to Adelaide. Otherwise, the ticket would have been cut. Okay, let's check in with myself. Where am I supposed to go? Because there was 3 possible locations. Should I cut a ticket to Adelaide? Should I go to the Sunshine Coast where my fiancé has now located at? Or should I go to Melbourne where my business is and where my mother, my sisters and my son is? And I checked in. Sunshine Coast, no, it didn't sound like the right timing. It didn't feel right. Adelaide, it was a definite no. No, it just doesn't feel right. Oh, I'm supposed to be back in Melbourne. And so I cut a ticket to Melbourne, and that's how it works. And I came to Melbourne, and then it became apparent as to why I needed to be here. There were certain people that needed me here. In fact, one of my sisters said she was praying for me to come, even though she had not told me. She was going through some health issues and she needed support. And there were other people in my life that also needed support. And so if I was not listening to the guidance of my higher self, I would have just cut the ticket to Adelaide because I thought, logically, that's where I'm supposed to be going. It doesn't work like that. Your higher self is holding guidance that is for the best intentions for you and everybody around you, because we're all flowing and moving together. And so my wish for you today is that you leave knowing that you never have to navigate life alone. Even if you are living alone, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are surrounded by unseen support, guides, angels, your higher self. You have a whole team that is always there for you. And so they're whispering to you. And it's always an opportunity to listen to the whispers rather than looking at the next thing that we need to get distracted with. And the more you connect, the more you discover that you already have everything that you have been asking for in this present moment. And so your higher self will give you clarity beyond the confusion, because the higher self sees the big picture, while the human mind just gets lost in the fear and the doubt of this tiny little part of the picture. And your higher self guidance never fails. Unlike external voices of manipulation and influence, your higher self speaks with truth, with wisdom, with love, and it's always, always for your highest good. And instead of reacting from fear, we just stop and breathe and listen. And so your higher self will give you the opportunity to access your creative power, because it will channel intuition for you, inspiration. And so we begin to act from truth rather than survival. And then life just starts to flow with ease and synchronicity and flow. The higher self is already connected to the divine. So when we listen, we remember we are never separate. So right now, Everybody put your hand up and say, show me how to connect myself to my higher self. Show me how. Show me how. Show me how. Yes.